The small town of Brookhaven, Virginia, was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone, and whispers could travel faster than the wind. I, Emily Carter, had lived here all my life. My husband, David, was a man of strong principles and an unshakable view of how a family should be run. Our son, Ryan, who had just turned 20, had grown up in this same town with dreams of venturing beyond its borders someday. My story begins not in some dramatic moment of betrayal or scandal, but in the quiet hours of the night, when most of the world was asleep. For the last 2 years, I had been working part-time night shifts at a local community center. It wasn't glamorous, and it wasn't even particularly well-paying, but it gave me a sense of independence, of doing something meaningful for people who often had nowhere else to go. The center stayed open late for students who needed a quiet place to study, for the elderly who sought company, and for anyone else who needed shelter from loneliness. David, however, did not approve. He often said a wife and mother had no business being out at night, that a home was a woman's place. His old-fashioned mindset clashed with the modern needs of our family, and though I respected him, his constant disapproval weighed on me heavily. I still remember one particular evening. I was putting on my coat, getting ready to leave for work, when David's voice echoed from the living room. "Emily, you don't have to do this. People talk, you know. What kind of wife spends her nights outside the home while her husband is here alone?" His tone wasn't angry, but firm, almost final. I sighed, pausing with my keys in hand. "David, it's not about what people say. I'm helping the community. I'm helping myself feel like I matter beyond these 4 walls. Please try to understand." But he shook his head, his jaw tightening. "I don't like it. I never will." Those words followed me out the door, like a shadow. It was Ryan who saw things differently. Our son had always been more open-minded, more compassionate in ways that surprised even me sometimes. He often stayed up late, waiting for me to return home from the center, sitting at the kitchen table with a book or his laptop. One night, when I slipped quietly into the house after midnight, I found him still awake. "Mom," he said softly, "I don't know why Dad gives you such a hard time about this. I think what you're doing is great. You're helping people who really need it." His words brought tears to my eyes. I sat beside him, touched his hand, and whispered, "Thank you, Ryan. Sometimes I feel like I'm fighting this battle alone." "You're not," he replied. "I've got your back." That moment stayed with me. It wasn't just about approval, it was about being seen, about having someone understand that I was more than the roles others had written for me. Weeks turned into months, and the tension between David and me grew. Every time I left at night, he'd mutter something under his breath, or shake his head in disappointment. We stopped talking about it directly, because it always led to the same argument. Yet Ryan's quiet support never wavered. He'd ask me about the people I met, the stories I heard, and sometimes he even walked me halfway to the center when the streets were dark. One winter evening, Brookhaven was blanketed in snow. The roads were icy, and the night air cut like glass. David, as usual, objected to me leaving. "It's dangerous out there," he insisted. "Why can't someone else handle it?" "Because it matters to me," I replied gently. "I can't just sit home when I know people are depending on me." We argued, his voice rising in frustration, mine in determination. Ryan, overhearing from the stairs, finally stepped in. "Dad, maybe you should stop trying to control everything. Mom's strong, and what she's doing helps people. Can't you see that?" David stared at him, stunned. He wasn't used to Ryan challenging him so directly. For a moment, the room was thick with silence, the only sound being the soft hiss of the heater working against the cold. I looked at Ryan, grateful beyond words. "Thank you," I whispered, and he gave me a reassuring nod. The truth was, those nights at the center weren't easy. I saw things that broke my heart. Teenagers struggling with broken homes, widows who just wanted someone to listen, veterans who carried silent battles within them. But every time I came home, exhausted yet fulfilled, I felt like I had made a small difference. And when Ryan asked me about it, I shared stories, teaching him empathy in ways no textbook ever could. One night, the center hosted a late-night fundraiser to expand its library section. Ryan volunteered to help. Watching him interact with strangers, handing out warm drinks, and listening with genuine interest, I realized he had inherited the compassion I had always hoped to pass on. David didn't come. He stayed home, his pride and stubbornness keeping him away. But when Ryan and I returned late, laughing about the mishaps of the night, like the heater breaking down or someone accidentally spilling hot cocoa on themselves, David sat silently in his chair, watching us with unreadable eyes. It wasn't until months later that I saw a change in him. One evening, he came to me quietly and said, "Ryan told me about a boy you helped. The one who was thinking of dropping out of school." His voice was softer, almost uncertain. Maybe what you're doing isn't so bad after all." I didn't respond right away. My heart ached with relief, but also with the lingering memory of all the times he had condemned me. "David," I said carefully, "I never wanted to go against you. I just wanted to be myself. I wanted to matter." He nodded, his eyes lowering. "I see that now. I grew up believing a family should look a certain way. Maybe I was wrong to hold on so tightly. It wasn't a full acceptance, but it was a start. In the end, it was Ryan's support that kept me strong through it all. My son had seen me not just as his mother, but as a person with her own dreams, her own purpose. And that meant more to me than I could ever express. Today, when I look back on those years, I don't just remember the disapproval of my husband. I remember the warmth of my son's encouragement, the laughter we shared in the kitchen after long nights, and the bond that grew stronger between us because he chose to stand by me. My husband condemned my night work, but my son did not. And sometimes that was all the strength I needed to keep going.